In today's video, the telephoto lens, or the telephoto zoom lens. Such an important piece of kit, I think, for every photographer to have. It's a lens that helps me to fulfill my photographic philosophy, if you like. And I hope you'll enjoy the video. If you do, and you're new here, don't forget to hit subscribe before you go. This week, the thought of getting up early and going out hasn't appealed to me. The thought of staying out late hasn't appealed to me. And I decided to just come out this afternoon and just have a bit of fun with a walk along the river. Although I can't actually see the river at the minute, it's all overgrown. This is the opposite direction to the walk that I did a few weeks ago, where I ended up at the water wheel. No idea what I'm going to find. So the thing with telephoto lenses is you can make distant things appear closer. You can make small things appear bigger. I mean, that's the obvious uses. But what it also lets you do is isolate very small parts of the scene, focusing on textures, shapes, patterns, the kind of things that with a wide angle or a normal focal length are kind of lost. The only thing is, it does mean you have to keep your eyes peeled when you're out looking for scenes, because they're not always going to be obvious. You have to kind of look into all of the sort of like, you know, little nooks and crannies. I've passed a few areas of this kind of bamboo stuff growing up here, and I kind of been thinking a telephoto shot with just the bamboo coming up, you know, maybe go really high contrast in post. Might make for an interesting kind of graphic image. Some of the bit further up was moving around too much, so I'm just going to bring the ISO up to about 400 so I can get a nice fast exposure time. F8, try and get it all looking nice and level. I might have to go to F11 actually. And ISO, let's go to ISO 800, F11. It's trying to get the right kind of distribution of them. Probably black and white and high contrast. But you know what else I'm going to do? I'm going to go for a much slower exposure and try an ICM shot. Just move the camera up while I shoot it. So we'll come back to ISO 100. So I'm getting like about 1/30th of a second now. 1/40th, 1/30th, 1/30th of a second. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up. No. A bit more movement required, I think. Yeah, that might be interesting. I often get quite fascinated by like the play of light and shape on some plants at a distance, like these kind of reeds or whatever they are on the far bank. They've got top light on them, so they're pretty bright, but if I keep the exposure quite low, they become just a study in, I don't know, light and shadow, and I really like that. The challenge as always is getting the composition quite right, and I often find that's easier to do with the viewfinder. Trying to avoid the distracting bits coming in might look quite interesting. There's these shaped little bushes here, and they create a series of shapes. Again, if I go in fairly I mean, it's probably only going to be 55mm, but really focusing on the curve, the light and the shadow and the shape, it might look quite interesting. Try and keep the sky out of it. I'm also thinking there's kind of light on the edge of one, creating a shape against the shadow of the other one. So maybe zoomed right in, vertical, very different. Yeah, interesting. I've got about a 35-minute walk home still. I've already been out a good 2 hours, and it's still pretty warm. It's about 30 degrees in the shade. Obviously more than that in direct sunlight, which I am, because there's no real shade along here. Today's video, I intended, and I'm hoping it's worked out, to kind of demonstrate that a telephoto zoom, you know, something with a bit more reach to it, opens up a lot of creative options, you know, even in conditions that wouldn't normally be ideal for photography. You know, today I'm out, the sun is high, the light is harsh, it's blue skies. These are not conditions that are ideal for photography, but I'm hoping that by using longer focal lengths, isolating details, or, you know, bringing more distant things forward in the frame, I may have got some images that are worth sharing. Using a telephoto for photography is certainly not new. In fact, almost all of my videos at some point have some telephoto shots in. So, you know, by all means, look at some of my other stuff to see what I've done with that. You know, even my last video did. But this one I really wanted to make about the importance of having a telephoto zoom, or at least a telephoto lens. I'll stop rambling on now, save my breath for the walk, and just say I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, like, shares and comments, always appreciated. If you've enjoyed this video and you're new here, now would be a great time to hit subscribe. And as always, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch, so thank you very much. And until the next video, bye.